So Zeke's master plan has been revealed, or so you would think, right? It's one of those things that the more information you get in Attack on Titan, the less answers you truly have. You're saying, okay, well, at this point we know Zeke and Eren were working together, and seemingly the Survey Corps weren't as happy as we assumed they might have been after seeing what would appear to be a victory, but then realizing that Eren kind of went against their back, so there's a lot of hostility. So what we get information-wise, if we boil it down to a nice condensed package, is Zeke wants to work with Paradise Island, wants to find a way to save aliens. And then, as a natural reaction, you're thinking to yourself, well, why would he want to? He's one of the people who started the attack against them. I mean, he's killed how many people? Why would he want to do that? And obviously the answer is time will tell, because you don't want to give away the information too soon. It's one of those things where, when I initially read this, it was the thing that I loved and hated the most, is that these come out monthly in terms of the manga chapters. Anime is great, you get it weekly. It's such a different, painful experience. They're both painful, but in different lengths of time. I always questioned, okay, does Zeke have good intentions? Does Eren trust Zeke? Is Eren trying to manipulate Zeke? Is Zeke trying to manipulate Eren? Is the island going to manipulate both? Like, where do you go with this mess? Because there isn't an easy-to-swallow pill with where Attack on Titan's at. You have certain characters from Marley coming over trying to support and progress the Paradise Island into new territory to stop what's happening. They've been teaching them how to make new forms of technology that they wouldn't have got to for thousands of years, because Marley and other civilizations are much more advanced than that of Paradise Island. But then at the end of the episode, you see Pixis and them turn guns on all of them, saying, thank you for all this information, but we're going to be taking it over from here. Which I think that's probably the only spot in the episode that, without knowing of the manga, you can probably point out and say, that makes total sense. Because at this point, would top military soldiers really want to trust those from the other side of the wall? They've gotten everything they have, and they really don't trust Beastie Boy, especially when you have characters like Yelena and things like that, pretty much saying they worship Zeke as a god. It does make total sense, and to see our boy Levi chilling with Zeke in the woods, as far away from civilization as possible, it's just kind of amazing to see where Attack on Titan has kind of piled in, and I really love the final arc's kind of storytelling, because it's not just simply like, okay, we end season 3 and we kick off with this episode, right, where we see, okay, Eren is interacting with Marley, he's getting all these plans. No, you pretty much start with the other side, and then you get Eren's side, and then you're flashing back. By having it puts everything into perspective, because you probably, if you haven't read the manga, you walked in the season saying, why are we focusing on all this? And now you're seeing all the pieces click more and more. And the idea of this plan, and there's so many things to this plan, as it's crystal clear, because you don't know how you should feel. People will have natural gut reactions. Naturally, when I read the manga, my gut reaction was, I was like, well, I would love peace, but is peace really an option? And I kind of just, from the distance, was like, well, I guess I'll see what happens with Eren and Zeke if either one of these characters really knows what they're doing, and if they're even on the same page. But the more you watch, the more you understand that, the thing that everyone should want to strive for is peace. Because if you look at this episode, Niccolo, a character from the other side of the wall who's basically a prisoner, he's mourning Sasha the same way Connie and the rest are. You get this really cute moment where, you see in the past how he cooks, really interesting food that they've never ate. And Sasha, the food connoisseur, was basically in love with him for that reason alone. You gave me food I've never tasted. And then there's some soldiers who will kick him in the face for coming to that grave, where the father will shake hands because he understands that people are people and it doesn't matter where you come from. Naturally, that's what we want to strive for. But then we see, war is just this toxic thing that people get into the thought process that until your enemy's destroyed, there is going to be no peace. You see it from Marley's point of view right now, especially after Eren launched that nuclear bomb of an assault. And even from Eren's point of view, he views war as the justifiable means. And I think what I really like about this episode is it kind of starts putting a wedge in between Eren's thought process and those that he's always been very close with, who's always had his back. You have Armin throughout this entire episode talking to someone who you don't know who it is until the very end of the episode, where it's revealed to still be Crystallized Annie. What I love about that is you're seeing Armin very much ashamed, afraid, and confused on what to say, that, he really wanted to believe in peace, and at this point it seems like peace is never going to be an option now that he and others have killed so many. And if it wasn't for destroying that entire fleet, they would have already relaunched an attack on Paradise Island without much struggle. I really appreciate the fact that this is a show that doesn't paint either side as completely right or wrong, and in the case of someone like Eren, who you blindly follow and say he is the hero, you're now starting to see, like, was there a different option? Especially with this flashback, seeing all the sides kind of come together, and you're wondering, did Eren act too soon? Did Eren act on the appropriate measures? Was him and Zeke on the exact same page, or wasn't he? There's all these questions that pile on, and I love the idea that rather than just having a story where you start with one set of characters and you end with one set of characters fighting another set of characters, rather what Attack on Titan did was it created a world that's very complex, that has history, where Eldians were doing horrible things, and then Marley was doing horrible things, and there's always been different sides, and the only true time of peace was when King Fritz, basically the hero, kind of had a pact going, and then that all crumbled after the Founding Titan was stolen by, obviously, Eren's father. I love the idea that this is a show that is just trying to build up this concept that you're not really supposed to be put in one thought process. You're more supposed to be a bystander saying, like, no matter which side I focus in on, I can see a justifiable reason on why they're acting like that. And it makes it such a painful experience because you realize the inevitable is going to happen, but it's hard to swallow, and you want to be like Armin, just sitting on the floor looking at Annie, which, I mean, I love the fact that in this episode, Eren asks, like, hey, did you get any of Bertolt's memories? And then in this episode, the person that he's confining in is Annie. I just love that little touch in it, but it's just so interesting, and you're seeing just the world of Attack on Titan open up so much just before all-out war. And I mean, you could already say we're in all-out war based on what Eren and company have already done, but still, it's kind of like the calm before the storm. It's just something that's depressing, it's disappointing, but it's so engaging with its writing, and I love it for that. I think this is a show that, like, if you really were to, like, try to explain to yourself when you first were getting into Attack on Titan, whether you thought the first season was okay or you thought it was a masterpiece, it's hard to, like, rationalize that this is where we would end up, but it feels so perfect because of all that setup, and things continue to click more and more. And I absolutely love it. It's just one of those things that an episode like this could easily be something that people aren't going to get excited about. I'd be hard-pressed to find someone who wouldn't be excited about this episode that really puts into perspective the plan starting to form and the theories that the plan will. I mean, Eren brings up the fact that he's like, when I touched Zeke's mother, who was in the Titan form in Season 2, I had a brief control over the Founding Titan. It's clear, if we have a Titan with royal blood and a Titan who has the Founding Titan, then therefore we could use everything at our disposal to protect this island. But the thing is Zeke is only 3 years left in his Titan shifter cycle before he will die. You have to act on it before it's too late. And there's all these things pressing down on these characters, and you really could get into anyone's head and really feel like they're in the correct here. It's one of those things that after killing such a beloved fan favorite character, where do you go after that? Well, you show us what led before that happening, and how at this point you have to keep moving forward. And even if, you know, your hindsight's 100% accurate, you know, you can say, oh, this is exactly what I should have done before. You can't change it. The past is the past, and the future is what you want to make it. And each character clearly has a different idea of that future, and you're starting to see the divide within the walls that we thought were all buddy-buddy after Season 3 now are really starting to shake up in the worst possible but best possible way. I love this episode of Attack on Titan. Every week it just is like, your enjoyment just continues to improve and improve and improve, getting more Titan hell, getting a glimpse of the Colossal Titan. This show is exceptional, and the writing is second to none. I'm loving it. Everything I wanted from an adaptation, Mappa hitting it out of the park, amplifying it where it needed to. I think one of the best examples is Yelena's voice actor. Absolutely incredible. Yelena always thought was a great character, but the voice actor really does kind of amplify that character and give it a lot more humanity than when I originally read it in the manga. Great touches across the board. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. Definitely those series down below. What are you thinking? Where do you think is going to go with episode 10 next week? Enjoy the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happy new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.